Welcome to Solutions Studio. This is a free series on C programming language. If you like these videos, please subscribe to follow along with this series. Also, please like and leave a comment and share the video to help spread this series. The second phase of running a program is to compile the program. Compiling a program means to convert the C program code into machine language code. While the compilation happens, the compiler invokes the preprocessor, and the preprocessor has a special type of commands that are called preprocessor directives that the preprocessor obeys of those commands. The job of the preprocess directives is to tell the preprocessor where to replace the code that was used from libraries. For example, if you remember, in the previous episodes we used printf, and printf is coming from a library. And it's the job of the preprocessor to replace the real code of printf instead of the printf function. Once the preprocess phase is completed, the compiler begins compiling the program. And if the compiler finds some syntax error, that is, the compiler finds some type of a misspelling in the program. And once the misspelling or the syntax error is resolved, the compiler will start compiling the program. Now let's go and see all of this in action in Div C++. Here we have our code, but before executing it, before running it, it's very important to always compile it. Sometimes when I click run, it's compiled automatically for me because the editor takes care of the compiling part. But in reality, you should always compile the program first and then run it. And this would be a very better option instead of just running the program. So let's go and compile the program. Now you can see that before compiling, there was a pre-processing phase that happened on this source file. And that means that instead of the printf that we used, this was a function that belonged to the standard input-output library. And instead of this function, the real code was replaced for the compiler to compile the real code. The real code is the code that is running behind printf, and a printf is just a very short form for that code. And then the next phase was the compilation phase. There was no errors, there was no warnings, and the file was compiled successfully. But let's go and make a mistake in this program. Maybe instead of void, I will write void. Remove the D. Now let's go and compile. Now you can see that there's an error because there's a syntax error in my program. And the compiler cannot recognize what void means and what command is this, because it's misspelled and we need to correct it. Void, and now compiler can understand the code. And once I compile it, it will compile successfully. And that was the second phase of our program. Stay tuned for the third phase.